Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about specifically the inferiority complex that comes with going back to being a civilian, because all throughout your military career you're told you're doing God's work and you're doing the hardest job on the planet and you're doing just everything that you're doing is so honorable and stuff, and then you get back and you, like, for me, it was about 6 months of I was still in that mode. I was like, yeah, I did something really good and really great. But then after about 6 months I was like, I actually started becoming my old self, which is, and I still struggle with it, which is just being below people. Now, which is really deep, but look, I'm gonna be sort of talking about it and why I think that the military really tied into that, which is interesting because you wouldn't think so, but yeah, the military really ties into it. So, yeah, inferiority complex, really tough subject. Hopefully you guys can follow along. I'm gonna be using some big vocabulary. Got some notes I wrote down just when I was thinking about it in the height of it yesterday. And yeah, anyway. So my reasoning behind why I think the military, after you get out, is the reason that people, a lot of times like myself, are just kind of get down low and they stop having that big prideful sense and start actually going beneath that, way beneath other people, is because while you're in the military, especially the Marine Corps, I'm going to be speaking on behalf of the Marines, and especially infantry, you are taught to go and listen to authority, all right? They gather all the 18, 19-year-old guys from high school. That's the main group of guys. Obviously, there's some older people, but still, they gain, like, the people that are going to be the strongest, and they're going to be able to follow directions because they're just getting out of high school. They haven't been on their own yet. There's a lot of reasons they pick the youngest guys, but me being 18 years old, I go in there, and the whole boot camp scenario, and they tell you the job of boot camp is to break you down completely, mentally, physically, everything, break you down, and then raise you up. So they completely destroy you. You think you're worthless, and you're told you're worthless, and you have to repeat, I am worthless, I am a recruit, I am worthless. So when they start raising you up, which is the other portion of boot camp, you start rising with your peers, and that's how you become more respected within even a boot camp as a recruit. You have to rise up with your peers, become one as one unit, and you'll get respected for that. And the only way to get through boot camp is to follow authority and follow whoever's telling you what to do. One thing that actually came to mind when I was thinking about this was police dogs and military dogs. Think about that, all right? If any of you have ever owned one, I remember seeing them. Even after they're done with their service, I suppose you could call it, they're still kind of the same dogs, right? They still ask for they still are super obedient and stuff. Now, even when they're in the military and even when they're police dogs, they could rip your head off if they wanted to in 1 second. A dog, like a vicious dog, what are the dogs they use? German Shepherds? Like, that thing could rip your head off, like, if it really wanted to. It's a fucking hyena. It's a wolf. Once it transitions to civilian dog life, I suppose you could say, it still wants to be part of, it still wants to be controlled. Now, they'll give it to families or whatever, even the family of the policeman that was following him or whatever, but like, it still wants to be commanded, even though it could totally just go on its own, just go on a rampage if it wanted to. Why do very strong young men or really strong working dogs follow authority? And why will we do that to the death? Like, that dog would die for its owner and die for whoever's telling it to do these jobs. The dog didn't ask for that stuff. It wasn't born and, like, it just wanted to go in the 110-degree heat with us, and it didn't want to go and carry all the weight and, like, rush at attackers and get beaten up all the time. But it does it because it's commanded to do it. And same with young guys, right? Like, we're commanded to do that. We will die. There's been millions of Americans who have died for this country because they were told, go over there and fight the enemy, and they went over there and fought the enemy and died. There's like everywhere. And my whole thing behind it is that the inferiority complex, right? Like, afterwards, you have to think, this is what I'm dealing with now, because I work at a retail store. I work in the back. No biggie, right? And you know what? I am so thankful for it. I got air conditioning. I got all the necessities taken care of. But it's really weird because even my peers, even the peers that are like with me and whatever, if they tell me to do something, I do it. Like, it's like I don't like fight back. I just do it. And it ends up where they think they have some control over me, and they'll just like, oh yeah, I guess I'll just sit back and let him do all the work. And like, I'm just a workhorse at this point. I'm a mule, right? Like, I just do the job, and I do it to the best of my ability. And my work ethic, the work ethic they give you in the military is just to keep doing it no matter what. And you respect authority. If the authority says to do something, you don't question it, you do it. You do it, and you do it well. And everybody else, like in civilian sector, they were never taught that. So they'll just kind of sit back, and they'll just, like Jamie, you know what I'm talking about. This is one of the commenters in a lot of my videos. You're a manager at a retail, I think it's a retail store, but basically like same shit, right? Like, you'll see like the guys who are working really hard, and you'll see the guys who are just kind of skating. They'll just sit in the back. Same thing. So like what ends up happening is I feel really almost anxious because I'm just like I'm trying to just get the job done as fast as possible. I'm trying to do everything correctly, and I don't tell anybody else to do it, to go and help me, because like, hey, they're doing them, I'm gonna do me. But like, it's just that inferiority complex that's really weird because you would think a Marine getting out of the Marines, which should be like, oh, he's all prideful, he's like, hey, like, come on, let's work out, let's work hard, let's do this, let's get this done. And yeah, I do that to an extent, but like the people almost take advantage of your work ethic, which is kind of weird. I know in the book, The Things They Carried, one of my favorite books ever. I would even say it's my favorite book ever. They always talk about the transitioning from military to civilian, and just like how it's nobody gets you, and that's the same shit that I'm thinking about recently, and it's crazy. But I suspect that the people that are most vulnerable to this whole inferiority complex that comes with being commanded by people and being told to do stuff by this time or whatever. I think it's especially for those introverted veterans like myself. Now, very, very briefly, explaining introversion to extroversion. And I mean, you could classify people in all sorts of ways, but this is just one way, is introversion and extroverted people. I'm an introverted person, which means that I get my energy, like I rest up and get my energy by being away from people. So being in my apartment by myself is really beneficial sometimes. But extroverted people are the opposite. They're the people that they have to go to parties, or they have to go to bars and stuff to go and, release, whatever. They have to talk to people and stuff. And that's how they rest up and get their energy. Two different types of people, but again, I suspect that the people that are introverted have the hardest time with this is because they can't talk about this stuff. They won't fight back to authority. They're just gonna, try and skate through. They're just gonna like, hey, I'm gonna do my job the best I can. They're gonna go and tell me to do anything. Boom, get done with the day. Let's do it over and over and over again. And I think that that has to do with their discipline, right? Extroverted people, a lot of times, they'll fight back to the powers that are over them, and they'll question it, and they'll question their peers, like, oh, why are you doing that? But like introverted people, not so much. I think a lot of it is tied with anxiety, and no matter what happens in the military, like, you can't get away from anxiety. Like, I thought, that was like my biggest thing, was like anxiety going into the military. Like, I wanted to get rid of it. I wanted to cure it. Now, it's not going to cure it. Like, you can't just cure anxiety. That's something that, like, is really deep within your soul, and you have to go and fight that. Especially getting out of the military, and now I'm like, wow, I'm like the same damn person. I'm not the same damn person. I changed a lot, but still, it's like, I just wish that I wouldn't care as much about authority, and I wish I could, like, question it, but, like, again, it's in your training, it's in your blood now, like, not to do that. So it's a little weird. Guys, we hit that 10-minute mark, though. I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe it made sense, maybe it didn't. Again, it's just something that's been on my mind for a while. I thought I should make a video about it, and here we are. If you guys enjoyed, leave a comment, leave a like, comment what videos or what topics you want me to touch on. I really like psychological stuff. I like philosophical stuff as well. It doesn't have to be religion, it just has to be anything deep. I really like going into those things. And guys, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Oh.